Hey guys, it's your girl Tiffany Matthews, Best on Realtor here in the Baltimore, Maryland area. I'm hopping on today to still offer some encouragement to those who want to be first-time home buyers. So, yesterday the Federal Reserve came out and gave, the new information, if you want to call it new information, about what the interest rates were going to be, if they were going to drop them or if they were going to increase or what. President Trump has been strongly urging, encouraging, harassing, whatever you want to call it, them to decrease these interest rates. And I must say, I am on his side with that. I really feel like they need to lower the interest rates in regard to purchasing power and the lending rates that are just astronomical right now. It's ridiculous. It has really put a hinder on a lot of first-time home buyers, even people who want to purchase for a second time. It has really put a halt on a lot of people's ability to purchase a home, including mine, if we're keeping it 100. So yeah, I was hoping that we were going to hear some good news that the interest rates were going to come down some. And again, unfortunately, they're not. They're staying the same. Those rates are not going down anytime soon. Apparently, they would like to see what's going to happen with the tariffs. It's still a little bit too early right now to say what that long-term effect is going to look like for consumers or just the United States in general. So with that being said, we are stuck with these rates. So my next thought process was, how can we still get what we want? And when I say what we want, I'm speaking in regard to purchasing a house. How can we still purchase a house with the current interest rates? A couple things came to my mind, and I wanted to share those things with you guys. So stay tuned and let's talk about it. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. Let's talk about some of the things that you can do to offset this crazy interest rate and still be able to purchase a house. So first thing I want to talk about is buying down the interest rate. So basically what that is you would pay a lump sum to the lender, and that lump sum would basically buy down your interest rates for the first 2 years. So year one, it would buy it down by 2 points. So if you were at a 7, it would buy you down to a 5. And then year two, you would then be bumped back up to a 6. And then year 3, you would bump back up to your original interest rate, which was the 7. But the key thing here is for the first 2 years, you're going to buy that interest down, and that's going to afford you a lower payment on your mortgage. Hopefully by year 3, the premise is that the interest rates would have decreased naturally, and you can refinance the house to get that new lower interest rate. So that's one thing. The other pro tip that I want to give you about buying down the interest, because you may be thinking, hey Tiffany, I really don't have the money to buy down the interest rate. That's where you find a good realtor, and that's where you negotiate with the seller to get the seller to help buy down that interest rate. And now is really kind of a good time to do that because properties have not been flying off the market. They've been sitting on the market, I'm going to say on average, about 30 to 45 days. So if this seller is really motivated and they really want to get this house or get their house sold quickly, they may be willing to actually buy down your interest rate. So that's number one. Number two, let's say you do have a lot of money. Let's say maybe you got a lump sum of money, or you have some 401k that you can pull out and you can put a large down payment on your property. That's going to also help lower your monthly payment by paying more upfront costs on the actual purchase. A lot of people do this because, again, they want to lower the monthly payment, and this is a really good way to do that, okay? The third thing that you could do is you can negotiate from the seller to pay more towards your closing cost. Okay, so we can negotiate as realtors to get that seller to cover your buy down and also to cover those closing costs. And again, now is really a good time because, as I mentioned earlier, properties are not flying off the market as they once were a couple years prior. So if they're very motivated, they may be willing to go ahead and cover those costs. Now, typically what they're going to do, they're going to ask you to up the asking amount or the offer amount. They're going to ask you to up that amount, basically rolling in what they're taking off into the purchase price. So, it's kind of a give and take, but if you have a realtor who can really negotiate, they may be able to balance that out so that both sides are happy with the end result. So that is something that you can do. The fourth thing that you can do is, and this is, something I always do with first-time home buyers, is explore any opportunities or grant programs, specifically in your state, that offer assistance with down payment. That's going to help you save some upfront money where you don't have to come up with such a large amount of money upfront to pay your down payment. Now, again, it's not going to cover, any interest rate changes, and potentially it could raise your interest rate if you take one of these programs, but that's where you have to sit down with your lender and your realtor and sit down and discuss the whole financial picture and decide if it makes sense for you, okay? With all of these, the ultimate goal is to get in the house, make sure it's something that you can actually afford, and then 2 or 3 years down the line, if the interest rates have dropped, you can then refinance for the lower amount, okay? All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is you can consider also looking into credit unions and local banks. A lot of times they are offering interest rates that are a little bit below the market rates, and sometimes they have special programs and terms like that. And again, I say credit unions and local banks, but you can actually look at all the lenders that you're talking to and ask those specific questions. What type of special programs do you have? Are you offering a lender's credit? Do you have a program for first-time home buyers? What type of incentives can you offer me for getting a loan with your company? These are the questions that you want to ask, guys, okay? The other thing I want you to consider, too, is a new build. A lot of times with new builds, the new build companies like DHR and what is it, American Richardson or something like that. But a lot of these different large builders, they actually have programs. They have lenders that they work with specifically, and they're offering low interest rates. I just got an email for one actually yesterday where they have rates as low as 4.5%. So that's really, really a great deal when it comes to interest rates when you're considering 7% versus the 4.5. So sometimes it may behoove you to take a look at some new build properties to see what type of incentives they're offering, because a lot of times they are offering really, really great incentives to get those new builds sold quickly. So think about that. All right. I've mentioned this one a couple of times already, but you can always get in the property, refinance later. Okay, so we're hoping that these interest rates will soon come down. I can't promise anything. If I had to guess, I would say, we would be really lucky to get interest rates back down anywhere between 6 to 6.5. So that's just my professional guess with everything that's going on. That's what I'm thinking. So again, though, the premise is to get yourself in the home first. Make sure, of course, you can afford the payment, but if you can afford that payment, you can always refinance at a later date with the lower interest rate. Okay? All right. I've mentioned this one as well. Shop around for the best lender. Shop around for the best lender. Shop around for the best lender. Each lender is different. Each company is different, and they all offer different incentives and programs. So don't just go with the first person that you talk to. Again, different companies offer different things, just like you're shopping for anything else. Car dealership, clothing stores, grocery stores. Different companies are offering different incentives. So again, shop around for different lenders, okay? And make sure that you talk with your realtor. Your realtor can be very helpful to guide you to some of these different lenders that are offering different programs, okay? And then the last thing that I want you to consider, and a lot of people, I know you don't probably want to consider this, especially when it comes to getting everything you want on your list in your home, but you do need to consider purchasing a home that is a little less expensive than what you were initially wanting to purchase. So that can save you tons and tons of money. Especially if this is your first time purchasing a house, I want you guys to keep in mind, it doesn't have to be your forever dream home. Okay, you can always get in this house, see how it is living in a home, take care of that home, build equity in that home by paying your mortgage off, or paying on time, and maybe making an extra payment, at least one extra payment a year, can take 7 years off of your mortgage term. So do those things, and you're going to build equity in your house, and then potentially be able to sell that house for more money than you purchased it, and have some more cash in your pocket for your next purchase, okay? For your next larger purchase, okay? So baby steps, guys, baby steps. But, you gotta, you gotta crawl before you walk. So keep that in mind. I hope that these tips were helpful. I hope that they gave you some hope in regards to what you can potentially do and getting around, these high interest rates. If you need a realtor or you have additional questions, feel free to put them in the link below or give me a call. I'm always available, love talking to new people and just brainstorming the different ways that I can try to help get you in your first home, second home, third home. You get the picture. Anyway, it's your girl saying goodbye and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.